Worry, fear, and frustration. Those are just some of the sentiments undocumented migrants say they are feeling as President-elect Donald Trump prepares to re-enter the White House. Thank you so much for choosing KTSM 9 News at 10. I'm Oriana Bottaro. The former president made several promises regarding policies aimed at curbing the number of undocumented immigrants in the country, including tougher border enforcement and mass deportations. KTSM 9 News is your local election headquarters, and tonight we are covering a total of 8 runoff races for City Council and the highly contested race for the El Paso mayoral position and a couple of other races. Thank you so much for tuning into KTSM 9 News at 9. I'm Oriana Bottaro. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals just ruled the Biden administration cannot get rid of Texas's razor wire along the border with Mexico. The ruling also stated that Texas is entitled to a preliminary injunction because Texas wants to guard its own property and not regulate Border Patrol.
Breaking news.
We begin with breaking news now as we are getting new body camera video showing the deadly shootout between a man and El Paso police at a West El Paso apartment complex. 30 years since the infamous triple murder case in 1994, where a couple and their 3-year-old son were stabbed to death inside of their East El Paso home. Weekend of chaos and uncertainty after an attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. A Cruz's woman is being charged with first-degree murder and battery against a household member after allegedly beating her partner and fatally stabbing her partner's brother last month. A series of community meetings that were hosted was to discuss the language as it'll appear on the ballot when you go vote, which, as you can see over here, the ballot measure will read as follows, and all the way down over here, voters will be asked to choose either for or against. In this case, for means revoke or withdraw the bond, and against means do not revoke. This is just something that you may want to keep in mind for when you go to the polls in November. Back to you. It's one of the most anticipated films of the year as the stage-to-screen adaptation of Wicked is heading to theaters tomorrow. UIL putting an emphasis on safeguarding against heat-related illnesses. Our KTSM 9 News reporter Jesus Baltazar spoke with coaches and athletic trainers in El Paso. You've been watching the special report regarding the apparent attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump's life. Thank you for tuning into KTSM 9 News at 10. I'm Oriana Bottaro with continuing coverage. Just days before the Republican National Convention, where Mr. Trump is set to accept his party's nomination and announce his vice presidential pick, the Secret Service says Mr. Trump is safe after gunshots were heard at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. The federal officials say they worry how President-elect Donald Trump's tough border policies could impact the borderland. Now our KTSM 9 News reporter Jesus Baltazar joins us live from the newsroom. And Jesus, how realistic are these expectations? First at 4, an El Paso judge has ruled there is not enough evidence to hold more than 100 migrants charged with riot participation. This isn't the first time Venezuelans take to the streets to express their discontentment with the current government. The message that Venezuelans are putting out there is that, 1, they're not scared, 2, they're not backing down, and the clock is ticking for Maduro. Fork fire, which is the one that you're seeing right up here, is estimated to have burned approximately 16,614 acres, and as of this morning, it is now 26% contained. How one retired firefighter is leading efforts to clean up years worth of trash in what should be a beautiful piece of landscape that is now covered with piles of debris, unwanted items, and litter. Here's my full report. Well, Athens 1896 was the birth of the modern Olympics, but it wasn't until Paris 1924 that the Olympic Games really took shape. In a $4,000 check, courtesy of local one-stop shop Bell to Bell. Well, 13 years in prison is what an El Paso contractor is facing after pleading guilty to defrauding 36 people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, Athens 1896 was the birth of the modern Olympics, but it wasn't until Paris 1924 that the Olympic Games really took shape. Gadi Schwartz shows us what's changed in the past 100 years and what has not.